Question number 6. If the price of a product increases from 12 to 14, what happens to supply? So here's a quick look at the table. If the price of the product is $10, the supply is 120 units. If the price is 12, the supply is 160 units. Price is $14, the supply is 200 units, and then $16, 242 units, and then $18, 280 units. So let's break down the option. So if it is letter A, let's check it out. Option A, supply will contract by 40 units and there will be a movement down along the supply curve. Now, this option is wrong. Why? When we say contract, it means decrease. Again, contract means decrease. But from $12 to $14, the supply actually goes up from 160 to 200 units. And then you have the term movement down. So the movement down would happen if the price decrease, not increase. So this one flips the direction, not the right match. Okay, so option A is wrong. Option letter B, supply will contract by 200 units and there will be an inward shift of the supply curve. Why this option letter B is wrong? Okay, number one, the supply does not really drop by 200 units. It doesn't drop, it doesn't decrease, it actually increases. There's an increase, okay? And the word is shift. So take note of the word shift. A shift of the curve happens when something other than the price changes. Again, okay? So shift is the shift of a curve will happen if something will happen and it's not the price. So the other factors of supply, for example, technology, it's or even the cost. But in the case, in this scenario, it's just a change in the price. So there's no shift, okay? There's no shift because in the on the text itself, it's just only the supply and the price. It's not the supply and the technology, or the supply or the cost, or the supply or the other factors. So it's just between the price and the supply. So there's no shift, there's only movement. Okay, there's only movement along the curve. And option C, supply will extend, okay, take note of the word extend, by 40 units and there will be a movement up along the supply curve. So this is correct. Why? Because from $12 to $14, the supply increases from 160 to 200. So there's an increase of 40 units and the price goes up, so supply extends and we move up the curve. So of course this is the case of how supply reacts to a higher price. And option letter D is wrong. Supply will extend by 200 units and there will be an outward shift of the supply curve. Okay, the 200 units is the total supply. Again, remember, 200 units is the total supply at $14. So it's not the change, but this is the actual change is 40 units. And again, the outward shift implies that there are some big external factors that cause this change. Okay, in this case, it's just a regular price movement. Next item, which changes would move the equilibrium in the diagram from point X to point Z? Look at the diagram. So the point X is actually the original equilibrium. And take note of the graph. You see the price and the quantity. Okay? Now, and then the equilibrium will change into point Z. So the point Z is a new equilibrium point. And if you're going to look to analyze it very simply, if the equilibrium, okay, point changes, it means that the price changes, like there's an increase of price. So what is the answer? Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, a very simple explanation. If it is letter A, decrease in demand and decrease in supply, it means one thing. Fewer people want it because there's a decrease in demand. But and there's also less available, okay, on the item. So it means fewer decrease in demand means fewer people really want it, okay, and have the ability to buy it. And then there's also less availability because there's the term decrease in supply. And in the case of this, the price might go up or down. So it's hard to tell, okay? So choice A means that it doesn't really clearly match the chart. Okay, the item letter B, decrease in demand and increase in supply. So what does it mean? Decrease in demand means fewer people want it, but there's more of it available because, again, more availability, increase in supply. That means the price drops. Okay? It means that the price drops and there's too much stuff. And letter B option, it doesn't really match because the price in the chart goes up, okay, and not goes down. Again, if you're going to look at the chart, Z, the price in the new equilibrium Z increases, not decreases. So A and B, they're not correct, okay? Letter C, increase in demand and decrease in supply. It means that more people want it, okay, increase in demand, but there's less of it go around. So that makes the price goes up and fewer items get sold. So letter C statement is this really fits the chart perfectly. The higher the price, lower the quantity. So the answer is letter C. And if the choice is letter D, increase in demand and increase in supply, it means that more people want it and there's also more of it available. The interpretation is lots of buying and selling, so the price might stay at the same, or there's there's a little bit of increase. And of course, it doesn't really match the chart, so the quantity would go up, not down. So in this item, option C is the best match when lots of people want something and there's not much of it, so the prices goes up and fewer items are sold. Question number 8. When the price of shirts rises or increases from $8 to $10 and the demand for the shirts falls or decreases from 1,000 units to 500 units, what is the value of the price elasticity of demand for shirts? So this question is all about like PED, and we memorize it by our heart. We know it by in our hearts that price elasticity of demand formula is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price. So if you're going to look at the diagram, you have to find how much the price increased and then find how much the demand fell, because it's so obvious that the price increases. So the first part is you have to think how much more does the shirt cost now. So it's $10 minus $8 equals $2, right? $2 more. There's an increase. And then ask yourself, compared to the original price. So you have to compare it to the original price. Then ask this question: how big is that increase? Again, comparing it to the original price, which is $8. How big is that increase? So it's like $2 is the 1/4 of 8. So that's a 25% increase in the price, or 0.25. Then Find out how much the demand fell. So people used to buy 1,000 shirts, okay? Now they buy 500. So that means that they buy only 500 fewer shirts. So then compare it to the original amount. Okay, you always in the elasticity, there's always, you have to use the original amount and the original price. So compare to the original amount of 1,000 shirts, 500 less is half, so that is 50% decrease in the quantity. So again, so you have to compare the two changes. So the percentage change in demand is 50%, and the percentage change in the price is 25%. Now you ask yourself, how sensitive is demand to the price change? Again, how sensitive is demand to the price change? So we're talking about here the elasticity. So we do 50% divided by 25, which gives us the value of 2. So it means that the answer of 2 means that the demand is very responsive to the price changes. And in economic terms, that's what we call elastic demand, because a small price increase can cause a big drop in sales. So the correct choice is A, greater than